Love and Light, I'm back. Oh, I wasn't going to make another video, but I came across a post that I do want to speak to because it's a dangerous distortion. So this person is saying, I came across a post which stated that going into the light is a trick to get those who do so to re-enter the matrix. The light is a portal into another womb. Entities can transform themselves into past loved ones to convince you to follow them into the light, even giving off loving, peaceful, trusting vibes. So you are born into another life cycle by going into the light. I guess if you maintain your knowledge and be consciously aware, you turn away from the light and think, say, I want to return home, you will return to your planet of origin rather than relive or experience another life reincarnation on Earth. Okay. Now, I know to many of you this will sound like a ridiculous idea, but to others, this seems perfectly reasonable. And just to illustrate this, I'm going to tell you that when I was first waking up, there was a day where I was just experiencing not long, like long to me at the time, but 5-10 minute periods of silence, of actual internal silence with no thoughts, complete freedom, and that was huge at that time for me, because my mind had been, for as long as I could remember, incessant. So every time I was coming up to that 5-10 minute level, this huge fear would come into me. Okay, this was before I had faced this fear. This was coming up into facing this fear, the fear of death, the fear that the ego, it's the ego realizing it's not there, that it's not necessary, that everything exists without it, that it's not real. At that moment it panics and tries to reassert itself. Now, also, in coming into that, you're confronting the ego in large, not just your personal programming, but all programming, because you are one and you are coming back into your infinite nature. So you have to come against the whole finite structure, because it's one too, and it's illusion. So, because where we're dreaming this, it's one dream, so it must be one nightmare, Anyways, so in this happening, the ego was trying to convince me, and I truly believed, like, I was on the fence. There was a huge internal battle in me about whether this was true or not, but it was telling me that the ego, that the force that I had been feeling as God, that this force that was telling me to surrender myself to it, was an alien trying to take over my sovereignty, trying to take me over, consume me. That to go into the light would be to be consumed. And in a way it was right, but it was only the false that was consumed. So I've told you before, and some of you know it to be true yourself, but the ego fears the light. The shadow fears the light. It's no joke. It is no joke. And when you get down to the core elements of the shadow within you, this is the type of thing you may face. Okay? And so when you try to help others through it, you will also see it. You will see the fear come up in them. So this type of distortion and idea that is being propagated is a tool of the dark. It is a false light tactic, no doubt about it. And there's a very simple way to know whether this is true or not. Okay? You hear any type of idea like this about soul traps and you don't want to go into the light. Now, they have taken some truth, of course, because everything is based on truth, because there's only truly God. So everything must be based upon God. Everything must be based upon reality. All illusion must be based upon reality. It is reality distorted, right? So they have taken some truth to this, that there are, because in the astral, the truth of it is also theirs, though. Like the distortions, the part of this that is true, that the soul, that the personality fragment, or the part of the soul that is traveling, it's not really the soul, it's really the ego, but it's the soul's energy, it's given to it. But it's the part that is not resolved life to life, okay? As people reincarnate, that's not actually the soul that travels life to life to life, because the soul isn't in the body. The soul is vast compared to the body, you know. It is creating or animating the experience of the body. It is viewing it. It's more like a VR experience. Man, I have gotten way off track here. What the hell was I talking about? I remember. So the truth of it is that in the astral realm, in the lower astral, for all this human history, there have been basically traps set up for souls, like for Catholics or Hindus, really any religion. Every religion has had these type of things, right? Where people that aren't actually representing God, and some of them are dark entities, understand, making themselves appear like loved ones or angels or priests, and the soul could go to a much higher vibration. It's not like they've cast the soul into hell. They're forcing the soul to reincarnate quickly, and they're keeping it isolated in their little area of vibration where it's already resonant because of its beliefs and its past, ties and contracts, and giving it sovereignty to its people in its life. In the entity's life, if it gave its sovereignty to the church, to foreign powers, then that will extend into the death. Now, eventually, this would be resolved, given time in the afterlife, in the in-between place, before the next life. It could be resolved, and that soul could maybe move to a much higher vibration, But to prevent that, and so that they can keep their claws into it life after life as a food source for them, then they usher it into just a little Catholic area, and they push it right back into a Catholic family. So the entity is reincarnated right back into a Catholic family, which may not be conducive to the soul's growth at this time. Now, this keeps happening life after life after life, and the higher self, or the soul, the oversoul, however you want to see it, does not find this conducive, does not find this, that it's gaining what it wants out of these experiences. It will cut ties with this soul fragment. If it cannot heal it, if it cannot grab it, it will just cut ties with it and move on to another aspect, or move to another timeline or something, because this one fragment then will be lost to the matrix, in a sense, or lost to these groups which are using it, or trying to consume it and control it. It would become a matrix entity for them, in a sense. So, or maybe even be consumed completely into a larger dark entity. Yeah. Okay. But man, I am sorry I am rambling so much about all this, because I don't even remember if I said the original point. Because the original point I was going to say, it doesn't matter what when you hear a crazy idea like this, all you have to do to know whether it's true is forget everything you've heard, forget what everyone says about it, forget the argument, forget your thoughts about it, forget the rational reasons that it sounds right. Just go to your heart. Just go to your feeling. How does it feel? Okay, and if you can't decipher that because you already have ideas about it creating emotional responses in you, then let go of all that and think about what this thing is actually saying. It's telling you to go away from the light. Now, your whole organism is geared to seek the light, right? Everything in you tells you to seek the light. So I'm just asking you, if we drop all the ideas about this and I just ask you this one question, how do you feel that you are meant to be going towards the light or away from the light? Do you instinctively feel as a being that you are meant to be going towards the light or away from the light? And that should be the only answer you ever need about whether to go into the light. If you can't trust that, then you can't trust anything.